Welcome back to the Corner Faster, Get Fast series. We're at Lime Rock Park taking 50 laps to get up to speed in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car. This is the third video, laps 7, 8, and 9. And we are learning how to use the whole track. In the first video, we learned the layout, including safety features, runoff areas, corner stations, and the topography of each corner. In the last video, we took a look at vision and how to look with purpose, including long-range reference points, tracing the ideal line, and timing of when to look in and out of each corner. Now we're ready to add a little bit of speed, although definitely not driving at the limit yet, and start placing the car at all these reference points around the track. So there's a few concepts here. The first is just turn in from the far outside of the track, get all the way down to the exact apex, and use all of the available exit and track out. It's also when we start to figure out at this stage some of the compromises that we'll need to eventually find an answer for. The first is in between the apex curbs, turn 1 and 2 at Big Bend. Should you swing out and use just the track to mid-corner where it's crowned and cambered favorably to the inside, or beyond the crown to line up a wider and straighter exit, but negotiating a bit of imperfect camber in the middle of the second portion of the corner. For the left-hander and the right-hander, should you come in wider to have a straighter and more lined up turn in for the right-hander? That starts back here at the left-hander. Or should we stay tighter, take more advantage of the banked and shorter path on the inside, and get to the same place with maybe a little bit more momentum in the car? Testing that out at this stage is pretty important. That's something we'll be working on really through many of the latter steps, but learning how to position the car to try different lines at this stage is really the goal. As we move up to the uphill, the turn-in curb is a question, as is the apex curb. So beyond just using the whole track, figuring out whether we want to use the option of taking those curbs and getting used to doing that, as well as getting used to carrying a line onto this portion of the exit where we've tracked out quite a bit, but we're actually not to the exit yet and still need to keep turning. Again, not doing this at the most extreme limit of the car, but getting used to using that portion of the track. Here we are at West Bend, and again, getting used to turning in all the way from the outside, getting close to but not touching that apex, and running onto the exit curb. So now that we figured out where to put the car and we're starting to put the car around the track and we think we're putting the car in different places, we can validate that by taking a look at a couple different camera views. So in this case, we'll just take a look at the right front suspension view. This is an externally mounted camera, and you can see just how close or not we're getting to each of those critical points around the track. Can't really tell what's going on in the left-hander here. It takes kind of two cameras to make this validation exercise complete, but we can see for most of the apexes just with a single mounted camera on the right side of the car, we can get some good validation and quick feedback in terms of whether we're using the entire track or not. So there are definitely a few times where I touched the curb where I didn't intend to, or maybe there's a slightly different compromise that I'd like to use. So I'm demonstrating taking another lap here, cooling off the pace a bit, and making sure to place the car in all of the intended spots around the track. It's time to move on to the next stage, which is using the entire amount of grip that's in the tire. Once you're able to confidently and consistently place the car where you intend to. And at this step, it's really not about picking out a line that is sort of a connect the dots kind of line and sticking to it no matter what, because that can be counterproductive. It's really about building the confidence that you can place the car where you want to, and then adding in additional elements of driving at the limit and manipulating the car through further car control techniques. So that's laps 7, 8, and 9 here at Lime Rock Park. Stick around for the next video when we start to use all of the grip that's available in the tire.